Hey, friends, I'm Ken Shelton, and this is the Fam Connection. Thanks for listening in to our podcast. Over the last few weeks, we've just gained a lot of listeners, and I'm so excited about it. Tonight's show, I'm really excited about. I say tonight because we do most of our recording in the evening. My good friend, Gayle Brannan, who lives in the Detroit area, awesome guy. He and his wife and family, and he's a great musician, a great songwriter, and a great friend. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. For those of you that don't know a lot about the Fam Connection, FAM is an acronym. It stands for Families and Marriage, Friendship and Ministry, and very importantly, food and music. And that's why we're talking about music tonight. So these are all the things that for me really spell relationship when you can bring these things in together. So I've got Gayle Brannan. Gayle, welcome to the Fam Connection, bud.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. And primarily, we're going to talk about your brand new project that you just released just a few weeks ago, actually. I was at the launch party and I was really excited about it. It's a great project. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first of all, tell our listeners just a little bit about Gayle Brannan. Where are you from? And how in the world did you wind up as a singer-songwriter pastor in Detroit?
Oh man, the evolution of all that is quite the story. How long do we got?
You got as long as you want, man.
Um, as far as the music, it's always just been a passion of mine. For the listeners, so I've been knowing Pastor Ken for a long time, and has always been such a just a wonderful relationship. An influence in so many different areas. A lot of you that follow him know that he does music as well. And we've known each other for a long time. And as it relates to music, I started out doing worship in church. Lord Jesus, probably at about 15 is when I started in youth group ministry and started playing and singing and developing, the talent as it relates to the piano and those type of things. And then started with a group that some may know if they follow way back is Dunamis Praise, that me and a few friends put together a group, and we kind of traveled around the Michigan area. We did some stuff out of state, but mostly Michigan. And from there was kind of like the beginning of me stepping into the music scene. And the rest is history. Just kept on, pursuing music throughout the years. And here I am today, 41 years old and still doing it and just loving the journey.
And married, and you have a family, and you're in your brand new home there.
Yeah, I'm a blessed man. Been married now. We're going on 12 years. I got two little girls, Haven and Cadence, and 9 and 7. And so they keep me pretty busy.
Well, we're going to talk all about that in just a second. But for our listeners who may not be familiar with your work, I want to play the title track. Tell us a little bit about this project. What's the name of it, and how long did it take you to put it together?
So this record is very, very special to me personally, for several different reasons. And the name of this record is That's What Love Is. And the single is featuring Eric Dawkins. For those of you who follow gospel music, especially Dawkins and Dawkins, Eric Dawkins is really just kind of like just a major influence as it relates. Yeah. But then also not just in gospel. I mean, he really is kind of the soundtrack to the 90s as it relates to R&B. I mean, for everybody from Justin Bieber to Christina Aguilera to Tyrese to Tank, there's just so many different people that he's worked with. And even right now, he's a vocal coach on the show called The Masked Singer that's on TV now. So he's, sure. Yeah, I was just in the studio probably about a year ago, and I was writing the title track. And I said, let me go on Facebook Live. And I went on Facebook Live for a second, and I call him E. He hit me up on the phone. He said, dude, you got to let me sing on this one. So I said, wow, and so I sent the track over, and he wrote the second verse of the song. He sent back all of his parts, and we got it mixed and mastered, and the rest is history. And so this entire project for me is special for several different reasons. I can't speak for every musical artist. Maybe somebody can identify with this, but as for me, there was a lot of vulnerability that went into this record. The writing, I talk a little bit about it at the end of the record for about 1 minute, but just really felt like the Holy Spirit just said, be vulnerable in the writing, be real in the writing. And this record is really, it kind of embodies just where I have been over the last 4 or 5 years of my life, and just different feelings and walking with the Lord through all of them, and ups and downs and all of those things. And I think that any Christian, if they're being honest, can identify with that. I mean, we love to talk about David as it relates to worship, but not all the Psalms are, I will bless the Lord, all my soul.
Right.
A lot of them are very, very vulnerable. And there's times where he felt like he was by himself. And I mean, there was times of deep anger. I mean, one Psalm says, Lord, break their teeth out of their mouth,
Yeah, those are tough Psalms. You know what? It seems to me that when you read through the Old Testament, none of those writers ever talked about how they felt until you get to David and the Psalms.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where, my headspace as it relates to writing for this record. So I just said, because the previous record I did back in 2009 was more of a worship, and I'm always going to be a worshiper. Matter of fact, the next record is going to be worship. But this last record, I just wanted to write from a vulnerable place, and I wish that I had time and the ability right now to really show everybody the Texas, and so many people. I mean, people that don't even walk with the Lord. Texting me saying, man, this record has got me tore up. I had one lady that had text Shawnee, I don't even know her. She said, I bought your husband's record. And she said, I'm sitting on the side of the highway right now, just in tears.
Wow.
Testimonies just from all over the place. And it really did well. And I think that for me, I've gotten to a place to where I can finally say that that's enough for me. The fact that it blessed somebody, and I feel like I put my all into it. As they say in sports, I left it all on the court.
Right.
That's kind of where I feel with this
Sure.
record.
Now there's somebody else on this lead song with you, isn't there? Besides you and Eric?
No, not Haven. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, so this song here is coming out on the radio here really soon. We're just kind of waiting on a release date because the radio promoter wants to there's a certain amount of financing that goes behind all of that. But I'll know here probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks when we're actually getting that pushed on national radio. But unfortunately, that part of the song isn't going to make the radio. So,
oh no, man, that's one of the best parts.
Well,
no, it's a great song, but I just happen to know who she is. So,
radio's got to be. They like it to be about 3 minutes and 30 seconds somewhere in there.
Right. And you got to catch them in the first 30 seconds of that 3 minute and 30 seconds. So, but your daughter Haven is opens this up, right? So let's go ahead and play it right now. This is a title cut. This is What Love Is with Gayle Brannan and Eric Dawkins and Gayle's daughter Haven, who starts it out. Here we go.
Okay, I need you to come up with that part that you were singing earlier for me, baby.
It looks like dying on cross. Ooh, oh, come for loss. Ooh, oh.
Do it again. Ooh, oh.
Ooh, oh.
Okay, I got it from here.
What's love look like to a cold world? And what does love look like to the darkness? How does love look to those who can't see? And what about those that fear the farthest?
It looks like dying on the cross, arms wide open, coming for the lost and the broken.
so far beyond what we can see, making it so hard to believe. And no matter where we are, you always meet us there unconditionally. You meet the need, let us know you can. Dying on the cross, arms wide open, coming for the lost and the broken. That's what love is. Oh, it looks like dying on the cross, arms wide open, coming for the lost and the broken. That's what love is. It looks like dying on the cross, arms wide open, coming for the lost. But you did it. Dying on the cross, arms wide open, coming for the lost and the broken. That's what love is, yeah. What kind of love would sacrifice his life for me? For me, when I was lost, you bore the cross, you took my shame. Your love's amazing. It makes no sense that we get life from death. Yes, your love's amazing. Yes, your love's amazing. When I was lost, you bore the cross, you took my shame. Your love's amazing. It makes no sense that we get life from death. Oh, your love's amazing. It looks like dying on the cross, yeah. You did the same. That's what love is. Your arms are stretched open wide.
Didn't catch that quite early enough. That's great, man. I mean, you can dance to that song right there. That's that is a great, great song. Now, this project, which song was it that did so well on iTunes? I mean, within just a matter of hours, actually, you were up around number 15, number 10, somewhere around there. What song was it?
Yeah, well, I think it was the record itself. People just doing a lot of the record, but certainly the single, and then the other one called No Fear, as of today, has done really, really well. I mean, we've got over 72,000 streams.
Whoa.
Just Fear alone. So,
and you haven't had any radio play yet?
No radio play, nothing. Just kind of word of mouth and just the favor of the Lord, really.
That's great. So, now you've been in Detroit for quite a few years, and you know a lot of the musicians in the Detroit area, both the gospel musicians and some of the secular musicians. You've done a lot of work in different studios because Gayle is not only a writer and a pastor and a singer, but he's also a producer. So talk to us a little bit about some of the other acts that you have performed with, not just in Detroit, but around, some that you've done the background vocals for, some other writers that you've worked with, some other groups that you've been with, just so people get an idea of the kind of work that you've done, Gayle.
Yeah, I've been privileged in that area to really just build some real relationships. Man, I don't even know where to begin. So I'm not sure if everybody knows or is familiar with my wife, but when I married my wife, she was singing background for an artist named Fred Hammond, who in the gospel world is kind of like the godfather at this point.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Now your wife's name is Shawnee, just so everybody knows. Shawnee Parker Brannan.
Yeah. So she's been really privileged, but that opened up the door for me to do a lot of different production with. I produced the Still Commissioned record for Mitchell Jones. You guys can get that online. We did a bunch of different tracks on that record. That was kind of my first opportunity to do production for a major artist like that. I mean,
Mitch was one of the original commissioned guys. If you're familiar
yeah,
with gospel music, not only in Detroit, but just gospel music from back in the 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, you got to know commissioned, man. I mean, that was the thing right there.
yeah. Well, I'll never forget when we was working on that record was done already, but we was working on something else that he was putting out, and we went up to the L. George's there to get some lunch, and he got a phone call on the way there. It was Wanye from Boyz II Men, and I'll never forget Wanye. I'm like, man, is that the Wanye? He said, yeah. And Wanye was on there saying, man, we're sitting here listening to this record right now. And he was just praising Mitch, how much he loved the record. And it just made me feel, because I produced it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I was like, wow, I had an opportunity. And I've met Wanye since then out in Vegas a few times, but just being able to have that, like, it, because I grew up on Boyz II Men too. So
Sure.
I was like, wow. But then, other people, I had an opportunity to sing background for Israel Houghton and New Breed, and was with him in 2008. We did a record called Generation Love, I think is the name of that record. And I'm on that record. And so, and then just a lot of different artists throughout the years, just working and staying active and staying busy as it relates to production. So,
Man, I don't know anybody that knows as many people as you know. I mean, every time I'm talking to you, you're going to lunch with somebody, breakfast with somebody. You just came from lunch with somebody. You know everybody, man. And that's really what it takes in the music industry. And it's because it's about relationship. And if you're not in the music industry, you don't realize how important relationship really is, and not just that people. It's not that you're trying to be a name dropper, because that's not what it is. It's that you have an ongoing relationship with people know who you are. It's a pretty tight circle.
Yeah, I can honestly say it's just favor. For me, I just have to really give God the credit for that, because I just try to, I don't know that I've ever pursued, like, it's not something that I wake up every day and try to pursue people or bug people or anything like that. I kind of learned to just let things organically happen. And they do. And I believe that scripture is on the money when it talks about your gift will make room for you.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about the church, Pastor. Our listeners need to know that you pastor Vertical Encounter Church in Detroit. And you've been pastoring for how long now? And tell us a little bit about the church.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking about this the other day. So it's been about 11 years.
Yeah.
Already. It just flew by. But about 11 years, yeah, we my wife and I pastor Vertical Encounter Church, and just a really good bunch of people that come. We actually do Saturday nights at 7, and I'm always asked, are you guys Seventh-day Adventists? And
because you're on Saturday, right? Yeah, so they would think that.
And I always tell
Seventh-day Adventist folks worship on Saturday morning, not on Saturday night, right?
Right. So I always tell them no, of course, and I just do Saturday. When we started the church, we did Saturday night, and it stuck. And honestly, our people just love Saturdays. They get Sunday off before they have to go and start the week over again. Good family day. People get to sleep in. Like it's just something that once you get used to it, you kind of love it.
Sure. So, I know what you mean. When I was pastoring, I loved Saturday evenings. Tell our listeners a little bit about the culture of your church, in case somebody might want to visit. First of all, where you're located, but talk a little bit about the makeup of your church, the demographic of your church, who goes there, who enjoys it, the age, the culture.
Yeah. Well, we're in Detroit, off Archdale Street, crossroads of Grand River and Southfield Freeway. But so, yeah, it's just made up of people who, really have burned out on, I used to say religion, but the older I get, I don't know that religion is the right term. I don't know that they burned out on religion. I think they've kind of burned out on kind of the hollowness that can happen with some things that are connected to the term church.
Well, you know what? There's bad religion and there's good religion. And
Right.
good religion's cool, man. But we all know what bad religion's like because we've all had a little bad religion in our lives. So
Yeah. And so, these people, they come, and when Shawnee and I first started the church, we just stayed true to ourselves. I teach in jeans and a t-shirt most times. We just have a real down to earth church that loves people, and really grace-based, new covenant based. I can honestly say too, Pastor, that, even as a leader, a lot of people don't realize that their leaders are human as well. I mean, we know it psychologically, but sometimes we kind of, we don't think about the struggles that people in leadership can have. And there was a period of time that I went through some personal things, and I was able to open up to my church about those things and really put it before the feet of our congregation and just say, listen, guys, I need help here. I'm being vulnerable, and I need the same grace that I preached to you and helped your families throughout the years. I need that counsel. I need that right now from the body that I've served so faithfully. And it really blessed me to see their response, rather than, get mad or angry or feel indifferent, man. They really just embraced me and loved me through a very difficult season. And I really believe it's a major reason why victory is a reality in certain areas of my life at this point. And I tell you what, man, I love these people. And
yeah, they're great people. I've been to your church a lot of times.
yeah,
I've been involved in it since you started. But it's a unique place. First of all, their music is second to none. I mean, if you're listening, it's a Saturday night and you don't have any place to go and you don't want to get up and go to church on Sunday morning, you need to head on over to Archdale Street in Detroit on Saturday night at what time? 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock. And man, because the worship is really dope. It's really great stuff. I mean, your musicians are great, but there's such sincerity in the praise and worship. And the word is always good. You talked about the grace message. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Let's go to another song really quick. I want to go to A Whole Lot of Love. I really like that song. I like them all. They're great. There's like 6 or 7 songs on the project. Give us a lead in for A Whole Lot of Love. Tell us a little bit about it.
You broke up a little bit there. Say it again.
Give us a little bit of a lead in on A Whole Lot of Love.
This one was I gotta be honest, I was just down in the studio and had been sitting down there. Sometimes I'll sit down here 3 or 4 hours before the creativity juices start flowing. And I said to myself, I almost got the project done, but I need something a little more up tempo. I've only got one. And so I said,
you know what? Isn't that the way it is? It's always, you need one more up tempo song. I don't know what that is, man. It's always, you need one more up tempo song.
Yeah. And so I was just sitting there, and honestly, I just started kind of playing just these chords. And it just started coming to me. I just started kind of feeling this different kind of rhythm. And initially, if I'm being real honest, I didn't know if I was writing it for me or if it was going to be a placement on somebody else's record. And then the more I got into it, started writing it, I said, nah, this is going on my record. So
yeah, it's a great song. Yeah. Let's turn it on right now and give a listen. This is A Whole Lot of Love. It's the #1 track on this new project for Gayle Brannan. Here you go.
It's a miracle. All that you have done seems incredible. How your kingdom comes, oh so wonderful. How you made us one. Now you call us sons. You're better than I can imagine. You're greater than my heart can fathom. In your presence, nothing matters.
with the Father's love, the heart of heaven, revealed through Christ the risen Son. Oh yeah, oh what a love. Oh, well, he gave his life to give us life. You're better than I can imagine, you're greater than my heart can fathom. Yeah, in your presence nothing matters. Oh, through you all fear is shattered. You're the reason fear is shattered. Oh, you got a whole lot of love. Hey, you got a whole lot of love. Oh, a whole lot of love. You got it, you got it. Hey, you got a whole lot of love. Hey, tell me what you, he's got a whole lot of tell me what you, he's got a whole lot of, tell him what you need, he's got it. Hey, he's got a whole lot of, he's got a whole lot of, yeah. Oh, tell me what you, tell me what you, hey. He's got whatever you need, he's got it. Whatever you need, love's got it, yeah. Come on. Whatever you need, love's got it. Oh, he's got a whole lot of, he's got a whole lot. Well, love's got it, yeah.
Well, man, tell me a little bit about, tell our listeners a little bit about the other players on the project besides yourself.
Oh, so yeah, that one there. My favorite drummer on the planet is Kelvin Rogers. Kelvin played for everybody: Marvin Sapp, Fred Hammond, John P. Key. I mean, the guy's played for everybody. He's widely considered the best drummer in gospel music for sure. So I reached out to him. I said, man, I got a track that I want you to play on. And yeah, and he said, hey.
And he was cool with it.
Yeah, he was cool. He said, send me the session, and I sent it to him. He laid the drums, sent it back. But then too, so those who have followed my career for any amount of time, my MD for a lot of years was Daryl Dixon, who played guitar. Phenomenal guitarist.
Great guitar player, man. I mean, the guy could just riff.
Yeah, he was a different breed of guitar player. And when he died a few years back, and it kind of left a hole. I
mean, nobody expected that. He was a young man.
Yeah, he was 50, 52, 51, 52, somewhere in there.
At this point in my life, that's really young, brother.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then he had complications with diabetic issues and things of that nature, and so long story short, when he passed, it just left a real gap. And so I made a phone call to a guy who really set up under Daryl for a lot of years, who currently plays for Fred Hammond now. And so his name is Lawrence Jones out of Chicago. And so I called him, and he came in and played some guitar on it.
And there's some good lines in there, man.
Yeah, the rest is history. So just favorite, and then it's different. You would know this, but it's not like it was 30 years ago, to where to do something like that you had to kind of fly people to the studio or something. Right. Nowadays, you just send a track, and they most musicians now that are working, especially with coming on the backside of COVID, they're doing everything in their own studio. They got to set up at home to where they can just record and then send it out, because traveling is so minimal right now with the COVID issue and so much stuff. So a lot of them making a living by doing it that way. So yeah, it's just good to have those relationships, calling them guys when you need them.
Sure. So who else? You got a bass player?
That's actually key bass on there.
I wondered if it was or if it wasn't. I didn't want to say for sure. but
I can't hear you
it
now.
was so, okay, I didn't know for sure, but it was really rich.
Yeah, that's so for those who I don't know if they've ever, let me see here. I got I've got it right here actually pulled up, but that's actually a key bass, and there's so many bass players who've asked me who's playing bass on that, and I keep telling them me, and they can't believe how real that bass sounds. But these, listen, these I mean, yeah, they sound incredible now.
Sure. All right. Well, we've got just a little more time before we have to cut out here. So I want to play one more song. I want to go to No Fear. I was just thinking about our journey together. We've known each other. You said you sort of started at about age 15. I think I got to know you shortly after that. I remember one of my daughters came home after a youth camp, and she was singing a song that you had written, a worship song. I don't remember what it was about, but I mean, I don't remember the words of it or the name of it, but I think it was Emily. So she's my youngest daughter. And so, she would have been, I don't know, that would have probably been intermediate camp, or I don't, it was a long time ago, but you were just a teen at that point. I think you might have even been a camper, and everybody was singing that song. And do you know what I'm talking about? You remember it?
Yeah, I think it's I'm so thirsty, Lord. Me and Don Browning wrote it. My soul is so dry. Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Been years.
Yeah. I lost you. There you go. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, so yeah, that was, that must've been back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Back.
I remember we went to that was for those who are Church of God people remember the old tabernacle. That's where they did all the renovation on it, and it was the old tabernacle where the bats would fly all up in the ceiling and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it was really camping, wasn't it? Well, the whole point to referring to that is that you grew up over on the west side of the state, I believe it was, right, in the Battle Creek area. And you grew up in the Church of God, but you also got involved in some Black churches that really influenced your musical style. That it's undeniable, and it's just impossible to miss. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my mom,
keyboard playing and everything.
Yeah, my mom was a churchy, churchgoer. Obviously she was Church of God for a long while, but we'd get out of service like where it's just the worship. Well, some of them old Church of God songs. I exalt thee. We get out of something like that, and then you go to the other side of town and can't know my name. So it's
the laundry.
And so I just kind of grew up on it, and then all we listened to was gospel, and I'll never forget. I would always sneak and listen to Boyz II Men and stuff like that because I was so attracted to, like a magnet, to the melodic ability, the way that it would sound melodically, it would just grab me. And
sure. Then
when I finally heard commissioned, I said, holy cow, I don't have to sneak and listen to sneak no more. This is gospel. I can actually enjoy, that part of it. And it's still talking about Jesus, and my mom would allow me to do it. So I never knew all those years later, I would actually be working with them guys. And that's just funny how that works. But just grew up in a lot of different streams. And, it strengthened, I believe, some of the unique sides that God wanted to kind of come forth. So I'm very thankful for it.
Well, anybody that knows me and that knows you, independently or together, they know that you and I have a tight relationship. We're brothers in Christ, and we can count on each other. That's something that's been developed over a lot of years, and I'm really proud of the work you've done, not only musically, but in your church and your family. You're an effective minister. This last song I want to play before we go is called No Fear. And I know it's really personal to you. So talk to us a little bit about it for our listeners, Gayle.
This is the one. This is my personal favorite song off the record. The lyrics are really kind of just describing me and my journey. And, it doesn't matter how much potential somebody has. If they don't know who they are, they'll always find a way to sabotage the things that God has in store for them. Mm-hmm. And for me, for a lot of years, I just always felt inferior on the inside, no matter how people perceive me on the outside. There's just so much that was being developed inside in the psyche that was developed through a lot of traumatic experiences growing up. I grew up very, very, very rough and very hard, as some people would see it. We didn't have a lot of stuff. We definitely was extremely poor. Man, I heard a joke the other day, not to change the flow of it, but this guy said he was so poor, if somebody robbed him, they'd just be practicing.
That's funny.
And I said, that's me. So, that's where we was. And so, I didn't have a tight relationship with my father, which is one of the reasons why I am so privileged to be able to have what we have together. But then also, there's critical places in everybody's lives, where psychology calls them the imprint years, from 0 to around 10. It's shifting back and forth with some analysts as they try to figure out what those years exactly are. But either way, during a very, very vulnerable time of my life, I didn't have some of the things that I needed to develop identity in me. And so as I got older, a lot of those things would manifest. And so I just had to trust Christ and just trust his plan and his relationships that he's brought into my life. And I think I'm starting to get somewhat of a handle on it. And I'm just very, very thankful for the grace of God and relationships like you. And this song just embodies all of that. And so it's, God, take this fear, I'm yours.
Well, it's a great song. We're going to go right to it, and then we'll wrap up this episode of the Fam Connection. So here you go. No Fear by Gayle Brannan.
My life, I have been captive to fear, stuck in between what he has promised and here. What happens if they see me, but they don't see the real me? Nobody looks up to scars, but deep into the shadows where nobody else goes, your love breaks through the dark. Yeah, I don't wanna run away no more. I don't wanna be afraid no more. I'm giving you my every fear, they're yours. I don't want them, God, you got them. Now I don't have to run away no more. Because of you, I'm not afraid no more. I've given you my every fear, it's yours. Cause my companion was fear. Oh, they'll never really love you was the only voice I could hear. What if they find out I'm broken? Nobody looks up the scars, But you took those fragile pieces and mended my broken heart. Oh,
Wow, that's a great song. Our guest today on the Fam Connection has been Gayle Brannan. Gayle is a singer, a songwriter, recording artist, a producer, a pastor, and he's my friend. And I'm so honored that you were able to take this time with me, Gayle, talk a little bit about your life. We'll have you back again another time. We'll talk a little bit more about church, about scripture, and about the grace. And I appreciate you. Listen, if you're interested in downloading or streaming this project, you can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on YouTube Music. You find it anywhere, any music outlets. It's on all of them. And pretty soon you're going to be able to hear it on the radio because it's going to be released. So that's exciting too. Gayle, thanks again for being here. And thank you to all of our listeners and faithful supporters of the Fam Connection. We appreciate you. God bless you. This is all about healthy relationships, staying in touch with God, staying in touch with each other. God bless you. See you next time.